And this is a whirlpool. I have this thing kind of tore apart, and I kind of went about it maybe the wrong way, but here we are. See, this shell just comes off of there. If I had to do this over again, I would just pick it up with a dolly and lean it down, and then work on it like that. You may find it easier to access though. However, on the bottom part, getting your hands in here to work with this. So I've taken this skin off and pulled the spindle out. That was inside the washer. What is this stuff? That right there is where the spindle comes out. And really, unless you're going to replace the clutch, which is located at the bottom of the spindle, unless you're going to replace that, there's no need to pull this piece apart here, the spindle. And if you do end up taking out the spindle, when you go to put it back, so that these line up with this housing, so it seats back on there, what you'll need to do is put your cam over here at the top, and you can turn this counterclockwise and make sure it's seated back up in there. And your spring has to be at 6 o'clock. So when you slide that back in, it seats back to where you can put your 1/2-inch bolts back in there properly. And now that I have my 3 bolts put back in, then I can actually replace the part that is bad. So I'm just going to grab this and pry up on it, and it comes right off. What it is, this part here seems to like to break if it's under a heavy load, and they've improved the design of it by putting a steel housing in the center. And all this does is it's a point of transfer between 2 moving parts. And where most people would throw this washer away and go happily get another one because of the stress, and it ends up in the dump, and you end up spending $1,000 or less, or somewhere in that ballpark, on a new one. Anyhow, the part number is 285753A. 285753A. And believe it or not, I'm going to put this in here, and we're going to fix this washer. The new one has metal in the middle. Will only fit back down on there one direction. So now what we're going to do, place our rubber piece right there. This is flush. And then our replacement piece is going to fit into the empty grooves here. And this is where we'll line our motor housing shaft up. And that just fits in there pretty easy for that piece. I'm just holding this in place. This is where the pump will attach back to. This is where we're going to line this shaft back up. And once you get it in place, you have these two brackets that you can reinsert back into here and twist and clip on. And they have quite a bit of tension holding this. You can go ahead and put your screws in there if you wish. And the last thing is lining up this shaft with your pump inlet where that fits onto the housing. And this will turn either way to allow it to line up. And it will just set into these 4 different positions. And you'll take your clip, do a little twist there, bring it up over the top, and that's not going anywhere. Do the other one. The rest is putting the housing back on here, the skin I'll call it, connecting it up and see if it'll work. Well, it's on spin, and you can see that it is definitely working.